Well, it's a nice 110 in these greenhouses. It sure makes 80 degrees outside feel really good. Oh, that feels like air conditioning, and I mean literally. There's times when I've gone in there and that thermometer is maxed out. If you get a thermometer that goes higher, I've seen it as high as 150 degrees on a 110 day here in St. Louis. These greenhouses are all closed up. No plants in there, nothing. No fans on, just the vents open. That's how it stays cool. But people have been wondering about the Kubota. What's been going on with it lately? In fact, somebody commented on my new account, DJ Films blog, wondering where the Kubota was at. Do we still have it? Answer is yes, we still have it, but it's kind of in a sad, forgotten state, so to speak. It hasn't, well, I can't go in that way. Just go through this way. It hasn't been used in a while. I think it's been about, well, I know for sure it's been well over a month. Well, here's what happened. I had, the engine's in perfect shape. It's just the starter either isn't getting enough juice to crank it, or the batteries are shot. Now, I have a feeling these cables here are really beat up. They're in sad shape. So I'm going to replace those. I have a feeling that'll get some resistance out of the circuit going to the starter down there, because it's cranking real slow, not enough to start the engine. But I also have a feeling that the battery might be going too, which I don't see why it would go so early. This is, yeah, 2008 right there. Looks like either January, February, or March of 2008. We maintain them, so I don't see why it would have gone bad, but it very well could have gone bad. But these cables definitely need to be replaced. They're all tore up, and they've been abused. When the cables get loose, instead of tightening them up properly, sometimes they'd get a beating with the screwdriver, or they just get twisted on there harder. Not good for the cables. It wears them out fast. So I brought over my batteries for my 6.9, which I haven't had time to get going, and that cranked this thing fine with those jumper cables, and I got it running with no problem. Of course, it's a Kubota. You can always depend on those. And I let it run for a bit, getting ready to take it out the door there over to the garage to work on it. All of a sudden it starts slowing down, and stops. Ah, dang it. Out of fuel. And the problem with that is this has a mechanical fuel pump on it. And this screw right here, actually it's a bolt, so you have to back that off, open the throttle up, and crank it until fuel starts coming out of there. That's how you bleed the air out of the system. Otherwise you'll crank and crank and crank and crank for minutes and burn up the starter. But you still have to crank it for about 15-30 seconds, depending on how much air is in the system, which I have a feeling, since it's ran completely dry, probably a good 30 seconds of cranking. And I have to get a really good connection on these batteries, and those jumper cables would overheat. So I'm thinking about just somehow setting the battery up right in here and hooking these cables up directly to it and cranking it and starting it up then. But, I mean, as you can see, it hasn't been used in a while. Actually, that seat won't have much dust on it because I sat on it just the other day when I was working on this. But it is pretty dusty. So, it's still here. It just hasn't been used for a while and needs a little overdue maintenance. I don't know what it does sitting in the heat here. It'll sometimes get up to 125 in these greenhouses, and the reason why it's so much cooler in here is because every summer we pull the middle plastic roof off of these, and that creates much more airflow. even to the point where we can still keep plants in here, though they don't look the very best at this time of year. We can still keep plants in here and not have to run the fans. Lowers the electric bill. So that's what's going on with the tractor. When maybe I should make that if I get time to work on this, I'll be sure to take a video of it. You also notice that this video isn't in HD. That's because I'm taking this all in one clip. I don't have to do any editing on it, therefore, because the computer I've been using to upload videos does not have the software for me to download, or to convert rather, my high definition videos. So I'm using this camera in the meantime, so I can just upload the file directly from the camera using any computer. So that's what's going on.
As we reach our community for Christ.
And let's get out of here. Yep, even Mercury Grand Marquis go off-roading too. Doesn't even hit bottom. Doesn't bottom up out there. Now, one of the ladies who works here has a Corvette. I wouldn't even dream of doing what I just did with that vehicle, though.